Drop a like, subscribe, comment what you think happened to Jeffrey Epstein, and if there are any other kind of videos you want around the kind of conspiracy theory situations. Now, the original story obviously was Jeffrey Epstein killed himself whilst in prison, which, let's be honest, looks very, very unlikely at this stage. And why does it look unlikely? Well, first of all, his lawyer said that he wasn't suicidal at all. In fact, he was actually quite happy because inside of his black book that he had, which we'll get onto very, very shortly, he had a lot of very powerful names in there, two of them being Prince Andrew and Donald Trump. And the information he had to give about certain people obviously wouldn't have cleared his name of what he's done, but would have probably got him, a lesser sentence. So, he could have negotiated for less jail time, maybe, witness protection, something like that. And anyway, let's get on to this. So after the body was examined of big old Jeffrey Epstein, obviously the original story, he hung himself with bed sheets, which after the body was looked at is more or less impossible. As if you roll up bed sheets, as most people should know, they're a couple of inches thick, if you roll them up really tight, as he would have had to. Yet the marks on his neck were those of an electrical wire, like a phone charger or, something that's plugged into the back of your PlayStation or TV. So the marks, the mark size of his neck to the size of a bedsheet would have been, don't add up anyway. Number two, the marks on his neck weren't just like a mark of being hung. There were marks of, there was like cuts in his neck and torn and ripped skin, which would have had to have a lot of force on him, which a bedsheet wouldn't have inflicted that much damage and force because it would have taken the weight a bit more. His neck had several fractures to it, which once again, if you hung with a bedsheet, that wouldn't have happened. But what would cause your neck to tear and cut and would cause fractures in the back of your neck is if you were being strangled and someone was pulling you backwards, pulling your head from behind with an electrical cord. So if you look at those two things on their own, the fact that the marks and damages to his body don't correlate to hanging himself with bed sheets, and the fact that he had a lot of information on a lot of very high people, so he wasn't suicidal, already you've got a lot of evidence there to say maybe it wasn't suicide. And then you've got to look at this. The guard, he was on suicide watch, right? So guards are supposed to be watching over these people. All the guards were apparently asleep inside of a prison. The cameras weren't working. So again, more and more, little bits of information that add up to say, well, something suspicious is going on here. But then if he was murdered, you've got to then look at why was he murdered. And that is, again, we got onto the black book. Inside this black book, there was a lot of names of a lot of very rich, very powerful people, two of which being Donald Trump and Prince Andrew. Now, Prince Andrew has come under a lot of criticism lately of, hanging around with Jeffrey Epstein and fiddling around with kids and doing paedophilic stuff with him, as he's been on his plane in Ireland. But the plane in Ireland are for a different video. But if you look at the names in the book, there's a lot of names. And so if he rats on all of these people in the book, it's not going to look good, and especially for people like Prince Andrew and other people like that. And so it makes sense for someone to have him killed, whether it was the royal family that had him killed to save Prince Andrew, whether it was somebody else who had him killed just to save a lot of people. Because one theory is that a lot of rich and powerful people all around the world are in this kind of like inner circle of like, and a lot all linked in with paedophilia, which Jeffrey Epstein was linked in with. So was Jimmy Savile. Again, we can go onto the Jimmy Savile bit on another video. But with all this linking him in, he's a very dangerous man to have ratting on you. So a lot of people would have wanted him taken out the picture and killed. And let's be honest, when you're that rich and powerful, as many of the people in his book were, bribing the police, let's be honest, wouldn't have been that big a thing, especially if you're so rich and powerful, because let's be honest, money talks more than anything. And that's personally why I think that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, as all the evidence points to someone wanting to kill him, benefiting off him being killed and silenced, and the fact that he wasn't suicidal because he could have ratted on people. With all the police and the cameras, it all just points to he was murdered, basically. Of course, that's just my opinion, and many other people have different opinions of how he was killed, if he was murdered at all, who would have done it, who wanted to do it. But personally, for me, that's just what I think. So please like, subscribe, and comment what you think about him and any of the kind of conspiracy videos you might want. And also, if there's any other videos you'd like me to do on 9/11, any other conspiracy theories or weird, touchy, maybe subjects or a little bit in the dark, a little bit unknown, please leave a comment on any of them you want me to do. I'll be very interested in diving deep into them and getting some information, bringing it out for a bit of fun, bit of light. Let us know what's going on in the world, eh? But yeah, like, subscribe, comment what you think about the Jeffrey Epstein situation, and yeah, tell me if there's anything else you want me to do around this kind of area. Thanks for watching.